going to continue learning more about the eye. Right now, we're going to focus on the cornea. So remember, the cornea is this whole clear front part of the eye. And this is how light enters your eye. So because light's entering it, it's very important that the cornea stays clear. Anything in there is going to obstruct the light from entering. So there is no blood in the cornea. So it's avascular because blood would obstruct your view. But the cornea does have living cells that need to be nourished. So since we can't have blood go to it, we have to have another fluid that nourishes it, and that is where aqueous humor comes in. Think about the pattern here. We've seen before other times where certain cells of the body are nourished by a separate fluid other than blood. So think about those other examples we've had. So aqueous humor is made by the ciliary process. And it makes it from blood. Just like how the articular capsule makes synovial fluid from blood to nourish cartilage, and how the choroid plexus makes cerebral spinal fluid from blood to nourish the brain and spine. Here, the ciliary process is going to make aqueous humor from blood to nourish the cornea. The aqueous humor flows up this way. Now remember, this is the lens. So it flows up under the lens. It can also be over the lens. Remember, it goes all the way around. This is 360, but the picture is only showing us part of it. And it goes through the pupil into this anterior chamber. Then once it's here, it can nourish the cornea, and then it's giving nutrients and oxygen, picking up waste. So then you have to drain the old, and the old comes down and drains through that little dot right there, which is the scleral venous sinus. Think about this term, venous sinus. You've had this before also. In the brain, you had the dural venous sinus, dural because it was in the dura mater. Now you have the scleral venous sinus, scleral for the sclera of the eye. So that's how you nourish the cornea. Sometimes you can have a problem with this system. There can be a problem with drainage. Now again, think about patterns. In the brain, we talked about a problem with drainage. That was where you could get hydrocephaly. Same or a similar thing can happen in the eye. If you have a problem with drainage, you keep making fluid, but you get too much builds up because it's not draining. And when too much builds up here, it creates pressure on the lens. The lens then transfers that pressure here to the back of the eye, which remember is filled with vitreous humor. So that pressure is then transferred to the vitreous humor. Now think about what you learned already about the layers of the eye. The vitreous humor holds up the retina. So then if there's pressure on the vitreous humor, the pressure is transferred to the retina. The retina is made of your photoreceptors, which are very delicate. They're neural tissue. So then this pressure can damage the retina. And it can even lead to blindness. And the name of this condition is glaucoma. So glaucoma is too much pressure in the eye because that aqueous fluid is not draining.